Alright, hello guys. It's Alex with the Week 4 Power Rankings for the NSA. I just want to say that I'm sorry this took so long to get out, two weeks behind schedule, but life happens, so that's all I gotta say about that is I was busy, I had a lot of stuff going on, and honestly Power Rankings were pretty low on the list of stuff I needed to get done. So yeah, that's kind of why this is late. And then the reason for the video instead of the usual PRs in their usual format, just because since I am so behind, this is just easier for me to do them in this slide presentation. I know it's very informal and unprofessional, but honestly, it's a lot better for me personally to make the power rankings like this than typing them up, just because I process things pretty slow. And when I start something, I just don't want to half-ass it, so I can't just look at a replay once, write like 4 sentences about it really quickly, and then just move on. I can't do it like that. I'll rewatch the battle like 4 or 5 times every time I try and write a different line about the of the power ranking. So it takes me quite a while, thought it out, word it, make sure it doesn't sound stupid. And then usually in between then I get sidetracked, or burnt out and just don't want to think about anything anymore and just like watch YouTube or play some video games, or ladder a bit on Ubers. So honestly, like sometimes I think the longest it took me at one point was like 3 hours in between all that stuff, doing it and getting sidetracked, and then I procrastinate on basically everything. So there's that factor as well. So yeah, that's kind of the reason this is happening instead of the usual format. So with that being said, the way this is going to work is that I'm going to be going essentially through every single battle and kind of going through with the replay. Now, I wish I could have done this on my laptop, but unfortunately the quality is so terrible, like just so incredibly bad, it compared to my phone, that I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it on the laptop. It was stupid. I mean, it's a Chromebook, and I thought I could get more out of it, but apparently not. But yeah, the video quality was like super low. The audio quality was even worse. And I've done this before on my phone. And so I was, because I record the entire thing on the laptop, and it was bad, man. It was bad. So I had to redo this entire segment, or this entire video. And then while I was redoing it, I got interrupted multiple times, like halfway through, like in just with loud audio cues that like I had to restart. And that happened like 4 or 5 different times, and it was such a mess getting this done. And then prepping everything, but still, it was easier, believe it or not. And now that I have basically all the sprites for every single team on my laptop, doing slides like this for Alice and Rocky and just future ones is going to be so much easier. So like week 5, I can essentially do, I don't know, in like 2, maybe 3 days. Expect them maybe Monday, just because tomorrow and Sunday are kind of busy, but I can squeeze in working on this. Recording wise though, it's kind of difficult, but whatever. That's besides the point. But yeah, essentially, we'll look at team matchup, and I have basically all the sets that I could see, or I could gather from the replays, and I kind of break down what everyone, or what like for example Alice brought versus Rocky and vice versa, and kind of see where things went right or went wrong right away from team preview, knowing already what happens in the battle and kind of how it turns out, and then after that obviously go into the replay and kind of go from there. I want to keep the replay section kind of short and just go through some major stuff, like I'll not be going through it play by play. So yeah, and also just a heads up, I am on mobile, so it is going to be a little hard looking at everything, um, and whatnot. So again, I'm sorry for the quality. I really wanted to do it on the laptop, but it was terrible. Um, so okay, I think that gets most of the introduction stuff out of the way. I hope. Okay, I wanted to make sure I was recording. So yeah, let's just get started with Alice versus Rocky. So this went 2-0 for Rocky, and I think this was a pretty close match, although Rocky just had a better matchup. I guess you would say, yeah. I think you just had a better matchup here, Rocky. Oh, hold on, crap. Okay, one other thing, just hear me out. If you don't want to listen to the entire thing, there will be timestamps. I will do timestamps for this, to like your section of the power ranking, so that you can just listen to that part or watch it. So you don't have to do anyone else's. And if you don't even care for that, I will also, because at the end I'm gonna rank everyone. So if you don't even want to hear what I have to say about your battle, like you don't care, like who am I to judge you in your battling skills or whatever? Because I mean, really, who am I to judge that? You can just skip to the end, see where you're ranked, see where everywhere. I can't speak English today. And you can just kind of check where you rank amongst everyone else, and etc. etc. I'll also post the rankings in the description. So if you don't even want to watch anything, don't even want to skip to anything, it'll just be in the description. Shield power rankings, standings or whatever, and you can see that for yourself if you don't care for this format. So yeah, I forgot to mention that at the beginning, but yeah, now we can go into it. Okay, so Rocky had a really good matchup versus Alice. I think Scarf Chomp was amazing in this matchup for you, just because it outsped her entire team essentially, if any of her mons weren't scarfed. And you know, being able to not reliably switch into Coco, but just kind of check it, see kind of what it goes for, and then you can revenge kill it with EQ is always really nice. And then of course Stone Edge, to revenge kill Volcarona, +1 Volcarona was really invaluable for you. And you know, if I was you, Alice, I mean, this kind of seems like Scarf Chomp seems like an absolute no-brainer versus you. Literally, it's a no-brainer because it'll outspeed Flygon if it tries to DD. It can hit it with an Outrage or a Dragon Cloud. Stack Attacka, you just EQ. Coco outspeeds. Mega Absol can outspeed and hit it absolutely, like, just extremely hard. You got Volcarona, and even Togekiss, like, isn't safe versus the Chomp because Rocky can just predict, hit you with the Stone Edge, which is exactly what he did in the battle. So yeah, Scarf Chomp was just it was so good versus you, Alice, and Rocky it was a really good bring. So immediately from that, your team kind of struggles with it, and you kind of have to pivot around to into what Rocky locks himself into. But yeah, I mean, that's just right off the bat what I noticed. Choice Banded Staraptor, it has no switch-ins on your team, Alice, and Rocky saw that and he brought it. It claimed a KO versus your Togekiss, and whatnot. So, I mean, really, like, honestly, Alice, everything on your team just doesn't switch into anything, really, for the most part, unless it's, like, super resisted. Primarina, you brought a pretty good check for that with your AV Meloetta, but then Scarf Trick Bronzong came in and kind of ruined that for you. And then gave you essentially a useless Scarf Meloetta, absolutely useless. But by then it didn't really matter because the damage was done. Primarina was 15%ish, if I recall. So Rocky, that was kind of a cool bring on your part. That was kind of cheeky, but it didn't really end up doing too much. Sorry for the screen rotate. I'm sorry. And then one other thing I want to address, just based off sets, is that super funky Arcanine set. And the Stack Attack set, oh my, this is so weird. It is so incredibly weird. like, how Z fighting Arcanine was cool, I guess. I guess you needed that for CC to knock out Stacka. I don't know. Like, I'm pretty sure Z Stacka just dropped. I don't know what else that was for particularly. But, I don't know. I probably would have just brought Spadef Arcanine for, like, Volcarona or something. Something crap like that. Or, I don't know. I don't really know what that Arcanine set was for. But, you know what? It worked for you, Rocky. It really did work for you. Going back to you, Alice, I think the Stack Attack Bring was really weird. I mean, I just thought it was weird. First of all, Bronzong kind of walls it if it has EQ, but I'm not sure if Rocky had that because he was Scarf Trick with like Rocks, Gyro Ball, and probably Toxic or something for after he tricks something. So yeah, I don't really know because he has a Chomp which resists Rock. I'm not sure if it resists Gyro Ball, but yeah, I mean besides that, he has Bronzong, and it. A lot of Rocky's team just kind of demolishes Stacka. Like Chomp, EQ, Lopunny, Drain Punch, that's 4 times effective. Staraptor's got Close Combat, Primarina's got powerful Water Stab. And then, Arcanine has Close Combat. It was essentially 5v6 from the get-go for you, Alice, with the Stacka bring. And then, even if he did bring Stacka, Infestation Toxic is just... Like, what is it meant to do? Like, in this matchup, per se? I mean, I guess maybe it was for... Like, I don't even know what it was for. to be completely honest for you, if you can tell me, like, what it was for or something, like, okay, maybe the Cofagrigus, now that I'm looking at the teams, maybe it was for that, to trap it and stuff, but, I mean, versus you, I don't think Cofagrigus even comes. I mean, I know you have a Hitmonlee, and that's putting some work for you, but... there's a Stack right there. There's a Mega Absol right there. There's a Volcarona right there that can set up. Togekiss can set up and flinch it for an eternity. So, again, I'm not too sold on the Stack set. It didn't end up really doing anything yet either for you. So, there is that. So, I do have to critique that. And Togekiss, as a Chomp answer, is kind of iffy. Just because Stone Edge, which he did hit the Stone Edge. And, honestly, at this point, I'm not even going to show the replay and kind of go through it because that's kind of what it boils down to is that Rocky just had a really good matchup versus you. And you definitely played it very well, bringing it pretty close with the Life Orb Sceptile that was able to revenge kill a lot of his team and get you KOs. But in the end, Scarf Chomp was just way too good versus you, and you had kind of no responses to it. Really. I mean, once the Sceptile was gone, EQ spam, kind of, Togekiss too. Like, it was just a hard matchup for you. Like, honestly. And that's really weird to say because you have such a scary team, but I just feel like Rocky's paired up very well against you, and then Rocky just played a pretty good game. I mean, you definitely kept it close by playing well yourself, Alice, but, I just think bringing the Stacka, it was just kind of too exploitable by Rocky's team and essentially put you on the back foot there. And then obviously Scarf Chomp was just really, really good. I think if you had an opportunity to set up with Cloyster at any point in the game, I think it could have been really rough for Rocky. Like, extremely rough for Rocky. But he didn't let you get that opportunity and KO'd it with Lopunny, I believe. If I remember the replay correctly. So, it was a really good game. It was a solid game, but I think Rocky definitely deserved that win. Not deserved, but he just won it pretty fairly and pretty well too. Especially predicting the Kiss to come in and Stone Edging was a good play by him. That really forced you to kind of roost and stuff and or switch out, I think. So yeah, that's kind of all I have to say. I'm not even gonna go through the replay. And just kind of as I go, if I remember the replays enough just by remembering them, we won't watch them. But sometimes, for this one, Healy versus M-Sword, I'm definitely going to watch this one because there was some... This game was crazy. Okay? So at this point, yeah. Okay, Healy, M-Sword. Man, you guys... I didn't know who was going to win. I really didn't. And I was like, no, how can this happen? And then it happened. Like literally the worst things that could ever possibly happen to you as far it's just oh man, I'm so sorry. Like honestly. I'm sorry, but I'm also not. We'll get into that when we watch the replay. But yeah. Also, quick reminder or quick thing I have to say. To a Healy, to Theo, to Jake Keel, and I believe JR's. I don't have your what's it called? Your logos, but and I didn't feel like messaging you guys at like 3 in the morning my time, which is probably late for you guys as well. But just for future reference, if I do this, I kind of want your logos. I don't know, whatever. Forget about it. I'll probably message you guys separately. Anyways, going on to a Healy M Sparks battle this week, which was absolutely nuts. Oh my gosh. So, okay, here's the thing. You know what? We're just gonna have to jump straight to the replay. Honestly, we're just gonna have to do that because honestly, the sets really don't matter too much. I don't think, and like everything is just so good. Okay, so, M Sparks leads Iraq. Healy reads Azumarill, which is pretty fair. Just because when you see Iraq winning, you think Webs. You think Webs lead, which is pretty solid, I guess, versus a Healy, letting stuff like Dragonite outspeed a lot of his team, and Marowak too if it's fast. So it just lead Iraq. Sorry, lead Azumarill, and Healy just brought the perfect set here with the Whirlpool, Toxic, and I think Perish Song. Was it Perish Song? No, it was Protect, Whirlpool, Toxic. Trapping the Araquanid and essentially neutering it for the entire game. And just kind of having to deal with the Sticky Web. But even then, the Sticky Web honestly didn't really matter too much. I don't think, because of the Whimsicott and Tailwind in the back. Obviously getting everything to plus 2 speed, which kind of negates the usefulness of Sticky Web in this situation. And essentially here, you're down 5-6 here, M Sparks, versus a Healy. Like, right off the bat with the set. But in comes Mega B, and a Healy's switch-in is pretty clear, in my opinion. Like, it should be the Garchomp, because you resist poison. Right? But, a Healy, you go Jirachi. Now, I'm not sure how defensive your Garchomp was, how well it could take Poison Jabs, but I definitely do know it is resisted. And you could have stayed unevolved on Mega Evolved and just taken collected the rough skin damage on the Beedrill. And so every time it has to Poison Jab or U-turn, it has to take that extra bit of chip and putting it in range of something like I don't know, just in range of something, I guess, considering I don't think you had any super effective way to hit it outside of EQ on your Garchomp. So I definitely don't think that going Jirachi here was the play. I definitely, you kind of need this. You kind of need Jirachi for the Sylveon. Because you have no way of killing it. Just period. No way of, breaking through it. Obviously, you have Poison Jab on your Mega Garchomp, which does a crap ton, but we'll get there. So sacking this, essentially, to B was terrible. And then you going for Icy Wind, you should have just gone for the Psychic move if you had it. And if you didn't have the Psychic move, I'm not sure what you're thinking, because you need a way to kill the bee. Mega Beedrill is incredibly fast and strong, and it's such a important part of M Spark's team that you kind of have to Jirachi is bulky enough to live any one hit that that Mega B is gonna go for, barring a crit, of course. And then you can just instantly knock it out with a Heart Stamp or something, or Zen Headbutt, or Psychic, or Psyshock. Anything but Icy Winding. I mean, I guess you were predicting him to go, to go D-Knight, but even if he went D-Knight, you could Icy Wind that turn, and then you break the multi-scale, You get him down to 1 speed, make him easier to revenge. You can probably go into Whimsicott and like Moonblast or Tailwind to get your Mega Garchomp in and revenge it that way. I just don't think sacking Rachi here was the right play. Then again, I don't know what was going through your head, but that's just my opinion on that matter, and kind of my thought process is just you don't sack it, and if you are gonna take damage with it, you knock it out. You knock out the B, but you get a useless Icy Wind that really doesn't do you any favors because he still outspeeds everything with with webs up for the most part, except this Rotom Frost. And so here we go. This is kind of the beginning of the end for you here. I'm sorry. Like, okay, you got rid of Rachi. That's good, but you also lost Araquanid for Azumarill, so it's kind of like a 50-50. It traded off well for you in terms that now it's just 5-5 really, and your Araquanid, like, it won you more than you lost from it because you set up webs, and Ahili just got rid of your Araquanid. Like, so what? You just probably wanted it to get webs, but then you got rid of Rachi, and Rachi was pretty important for Ahili to kind of break through the Sylveon, but so like you're in a good position here, obviously, and he reveals the Will-O-Wisp. Now, when you see Rotom Frost, it's either some sort of electric stab and Blizzard, plus like Pain Split or Will-O-Wisp or maybe even Hex. I'm pretty sure it gets Hex, Pain Split, Defog, or something, right? And usually in all of those cases, your Marowak hard walls this Rotom. Like, absolutely hard walls. Like, and then he switches in Chomp on the Third Blitz, which is a good play because it resists and takes a ton. Now, here's what I just don't understand. I can't wrap my head around it. You have what appears to be a fully Fizz-Def Gligar with a Violet, is what I'm assuming, because it kind of just died later in the game to Rotom Frost from a Blizzard. And I don't want to sound too harsh here, I really don't, but you had a perfectly good switch in a Gligar, and you sacked your Marowak for nothing. And this is really important because later Rotom Frost comes in and sweeps your entire team. Literally, like, that's what happens. And all the luck that Ahili did get, like, I understand, he got very lucky with the poison on Sylveon, that is coming up shortly, but you were just in such a good position to pivot. You just pivot into Gligar, and you take the hit, and maybe you weren't defensive Gligar. And that's a whole different problem, is why weren't you defensive Gligar? You need something to switch into Garchomp. Like, you just need to. When you have Scolipede and Beedrill on a team, which are essentially the same Pokemon, as far as I'm concerned, really, like, you have to, like, I don't understand it. I really don't. And sacking it here just made no sense because it could also come in on the Whimsicott, resist both its stabs, KOs it, Heracross. Like, the defensive capabilities that the typing Marowak brought were so good versus Ahili, which is probably why you brought it in the first place. You're like, oh, okay, this looks really good, and it is, but then you sacked it. Like, literally, what is Whimsicott going for to KO your Marowak? Like, it has to go for Tailwind or something, and you click Third Blitz. That is, Whimsicott's gone. Obviously he got the Tailwind up or whatever. Heracross has to go for a Stone Edge or an EQ, probably an EQ. And if you're a good amount of health, you're probably not gonna die, especially if you're Rockhead and you're not taking Third Blitz recoil, which I think you were. You KO the Heracross too. And you hardwalled the Rotom Frost, which ends up biting you in the butt because you didn't keep your on. So that's kind of the beginning of the end. And while there was a lot of it that you couldn't control, you could have controlled this, right? You could have kept your Marowak, and the game could have been you could have played it a lot safer, I'm saying. Like, because I think what was going through your mind is like, okay, Chomp, I just sack this, bring in Sylveon for free, and start Calm Mining up. Right? I think that was kind of where your thought process was on that play. And so, you're just like, oh, I'm going to set up here and sweep, which you almost do, but then you don't because of RNG. Poison Jab does a ton of damage. And then poisons. I mean, 30% chance to poison. It's pretty likely. It's Scald essentially for poison. And you know, as much as the RNG did suck, and whatnot, and that a Healy did, you know, land every single one of his blizzards, you could have kept yourself away from that position. So honestly, what you have to learn from this, in my from what I believe, is that you just need to play a bit safer. Like, just don't automatically go for the win. You know what I mean? Like, you had options. You could pivot in. Like, I know Gligar was like 1% away from killing the Rotom Frost, but maybe he expected it that way. It's like, specifically EV'd his Rotom Frost to live cross poison from whatever percent. We'll just play the rest of the replay here. But you know what I mean? And that was the play when you sacked your Marowak to the Garchomp. That I think stuff really went downhill for you. In retrospect, at least. Because after that, like, it looked like you were winning. You set up. You essentially killed all of Healy's Mons. And you were in the driver's seat to win. It's like, yeah, he's gonna win. And then it just doesn't happen. And then it just doesn't happen because Poison Jab does a crap ton to your Sylveon, poisons, and he gets enough damage on there with Heracross until you die from poison. And it's like it's 3v1 versus Rotom Frost. And really, Rotom Frost, all it has to do is hit all of its blizzards, and it kind of just wins. It can cripple everything with Will-O-Wisp as well, so they can't kill it. And like, if you just kept your Marowak, man, I think you could have won this. I honestly think you could have won this super clean if you kept Marowak. But you sacked it, and you know, at this point I'm just kind of repeating myself. So we're gonna stop watching the replay there. So yeah, I mean, a Healy, like, I don't think he had the most amazing matchup, but he also made some really stupid plays, I think, with the Jirachi particularly. But I mean, Rotom Frost was just an incredibly good bring versus you. And I know after the match you guys were talking a bit, and you know, you said you didn't really expect Rotom Frost, but I mean, Mike, like, just look at your team, dude. Look at your team. You've got Dragonite, which is 4 times weak. You got Gligar, which is 4 times weak. Steelix takes neutral. Serena takes super effective damage from Blizzard. I think it was definitely a very solid bring versus you. And then another thing is just, like, never discount an opponent's Pokemon. You always gotta prep for it. Like, you know, the way I see it is you gotta prep for all 11 of their mods. Have something for just one of them, even if it's kind of like a shaky out. Like, I'm not sure if he's gonna bring that. Like, I don't think it will, and so maybe don't prep for it as much, but still have something in the back there for, like, in case he does. But like, even then, it's like you had Marowak, you had the answer right there, and you sacked it, and the game just kind of slipped from your grasp there, and RNG kind of went against you, and you know, it totally backflipped on you. Like, the whole momentum of the game just kind of gone out of your favor. So yeah. Okay, now on to my game versus Theo. Honestly, I'm gonna say it. I had no expectations of winning this battle at all. I thought I had an atrocious matchup, which I still think I do, considering the fact that I had no switch-ins for Kyurem, especially physical Kyurem. I prepped for special Kyurem because I was like, whatever. So yeah, ICMZ Free Shock just kind of went in on my team. I'm not even gonna play the replay because it's so embarrassing. Like, I got clapped by Theo. Like, he just smoked me. Now, then again, I was expecting that, so for me, it was like, all right, whatever. I got tilted playing that game because I'm still playing Theo, and it's really stally and boring, and the fact that he brings the same Blissey set kind of pisses me off every week, because I'm just like, he just brings Blissey, walls everything with his team, and just kind of pivots until everything dies, and, you know, as much as I don't like it, I mean, hey, it works for him, so. But yeah, honestly, for me at least, on my side, prep-wise, because I know my team, I kind of know what I was thinking when I was making it. I was bringing, like, some cool techie stuff, like Rust Talker, String, whatever, which I think put in a lot of work is kind of my only way of winning. And honestly, that's kind of where my problem with the team was on my end, is that I had no like win condition, like at all. I had no game plan for beating Theo, but that was kind of designed on purpose because I kind of just wanted to take the L, honestly. Because who knows, maybe if I do make playoffs, like maybe I'll fight Theo and all that sort of, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I mean Theo, he clapped me in the ass cheeks. It was bad. It was really bad. I'm not gonna play it for you. I'm not gonna replay it for his sake, for my sake actually. It was embarrassing. It really was. I remember I was like, all right. I remember looking at team preview when the game started. I was like, all right, his rockers are Blissey or Skarm. I'm gonna lead Infernape. That makes sense, right? And then as I clicked it and he clicked Suicune, I was like, oh crap, wait, he could just lead Suicune. That seems super obvious. He led Suicune and then like right off the bat, I had to switch and I lost momentum and everything that went wrong for me. And yeah, Theo his team. I hate his team. I hate your team, Theo. If you're watching this, I hate your team and I hate the way you play. Honestly, nothing against you. I can't deal with it. All right, Tails versus JR's. Okay, so this is another one that I kind of don't even want to go into the replay, just because it's a bit more simple, I guess, in terms of why JR's kind of lost this and why Tails won. So first of all, JR's. Okay, I think like your matchup wasn't that great. Let's be real. But then again, no one has a really good matchup versus Tails because his team is so good. I think when I was doing the team rankings with Storm before week 1 and stuff, when we were ranking them, I think I had you at number 1, Tails. And I think you were number 1. Just because like your team is so well built around Mew that it's so crazy good. You have so many pivoting options. You have so much setup. You have so much fat that wall breaking potential too. That's just not fair, man. It's not fair. Your team is disgusting and not fair versus anyone, honestly. Like, I hate your team almost as much as Theo's. The only reason I don't hate it as much as Theo's is because it's Theo. It's Theo. He plays stall. Or, well, semi-stall, I guess. Not really. I don't know. It's like bulky offense stall crap with just fat stuff. Anyways, off topic. Yeah, so JR's. Like, your team, like, Tails just had a good matchup versus you. And it's not as simple as that, but I think a lot of your team building decisions kind of didn't make sense. You know what I mean? And you took kind of what was a bad matchup, right? Because when you have a bad matchup versus someone, you gotta bring the mons that kind of make it a better matchup for you. You know, you try to bring stuff that your opponent can't capitalize on as much, and you kind of did the opposite, where you brought everything that Tails could capitalize on. Like, bringing Heatran and Galvantula, to me, made no sense whatsoever. When you look at Tails' team, he has Mew with Defog, he's got Decidueye with Defog, he's got Mega Altaria with Defog, which he did bring, he's got Tornadus T with Defog, and he has Armaldo as a Rapid Spinner. There's no train of thought where I would look at his team and be like, yeah, Hazard Stack it is, Webs it is. And I don't want to say that to be a dick, right? But, like, it made zero sense. Like, I'm sorry. And, I could definitely see bringing, like, an offensive or even, like, a scarfed Galvantula. Bug Buzz, Thunder, or something, like HP Fire, Energy Ball. Like, that's some pretty decent coverage, I guess. It still kind of gets mutilated by Mega Altaria. Altaria, whatever, however you want to say it, but still, I don't think Webs was the bring. Like, you either bring coverage or you bring a spec set, like something offensive, and you don't click for Webs. Which at one point you brought in Galvantula and you clicked for Webs, where it would have been more advantageous for you to just click a move, get damage off on something, or just Volt Switch and gain yourself some momentum. If you didn't really believe the Mamoswine was going to come in. So right off the bat, that's just one. That's just one of the members, and one of the reasons where it didn't make sense, and you going for it, like you going for Webs in that game makes zero to no sense, in my opinion, the way I saw the replay. And then also Heatran. he has so much for Heatran, dude. He has so much. He's got Mew, which can just run EQ or whatever. He's got a Mammal right there. He's got a Cobalion. He's got a Vaporeon. Mega Altaria can run EQ. Tornadus can run Z Focus Blast. Entei has Stomping Tantrum. Armaldo can run EQ. Like, even when you did bring Air Balloon, it's just like, Tails just gets one chip. Just gets some chip on it. He U-turns once off of your Heatran with, Mew or Cobalion with a Volt Switch or your Torrentee with, something. And your Air Balloon is gone, and half his team can take advantage of it and click EQ. I mean, and I know it's, like stab-wise, it does well versus Mega Altaria, versus Dragon, versus Fairy. Seems like a great option, but like EQ's right there. Then again, I don't think Tails brought it, so I guess it was a good bring technically, but like everything on his team can run coverage for it, and hit it so super hard that like I can't find like a single mon that Heatran is really good against versus Tails except Decidueye. Literally, it's just Decidueye and Armaldo if you're fast and get a Flash Cannon off or something, and it doesn't have you know what I mean? Like Heatran was just I can't get behind you bringing Heatran. And, to be honest, in your defense, I don't know what you would have brought different, like, what else you had brought. I think actually Alolan Ninetales could have been better for you, because it can hit more of his team. I mean, obviously it gets walled by NSA, but, that's a different story. You could run Freeze Dry for Vaporeon. Moonblast is at least doing neutral to Cobal, and you can try and speed tie with it. Maybe you could do something with Veil and stuff for your Darkrai to, really put the pressure in on Tails, not being able to Revenge Kill it or something, being able to Sludge Bomb, like, something other than what you brought, with the Train and the Galvantula. Like, again, even then, Galvantula, like I said, like, it had some decent offensive coverage moves. Maybe you bring something like Zygarde, honestly, maybe you bring something like Zygarde, like Subcoil or Glare or something annoying for him to have to deal with, or even Golbat, like a Fizdef Golbat or like Mega Altaria or something, and it could kind of deal with Cobalion as well. Like, I don't know, it's just, again, it was a tough matchup, and I don't want to blame me too much for it, but like some of the decisions with the Tran and especially webs on Galvantula didn't make too much sense on your part. And then just one other thing, mainly for the replay, which is why I won't really go into it that much, is your play with Mega Medicham. So Mega Medicham can just spam moves versus Tails' team if you get rid of Mew, because Fizdef Mew is absolutely coming versus you. I mean, not for sure, but like it's a pretty safe bet to assume that Fizdef Mew is coming for your Mega Medicham. So I just want you to think about how you want to use your Mega Medicham. The goal for your Mega Medicham in a game where you have Fizdef Mew isn't to break Fizdef Mew. Like, obviously, if you can, you can. But really, with the setup, with the moveset that Mega Medicham has, you can't really break through Mew. You're not Mega Glade. You don't have Knockoff. You don't have SD. You can't break past it that way, right? So you gotta find a way with your team, like Darkrai or something, to get rid of it. And if Tails is smart, he tries to keep it. But essentially what you want to do is use the rest of your team to get rid of Mew so that Mega Medicham can go in on his team. So he can destroy his pet. So you can have stuff like Darkrai or Alolan Ninetales even, or, Zydog, to just go in and start claiming kills. But you used your Mega Medicham to break through Mew, which did nothing for your team. Like, Giga Impact, like, it did nothing for you. Do you kind of see what I'm trying to say here? Is, like, you trading Medicham for Mew is always a plus for Tails. Like, it's always a good exchange for him in terms of value in the game, because that's what Mew was brought for, was to check your Mega Medicham, and you're just sacking it to get rid of it. Now, obviously, he had to hit a Hurricane versus you with Torrentee, but, RNG is in his favor, so, what happened, and that was that. So, I think he played very poorly with your Mega Medicham. Like, straight up. Like, you did not play well with it, and it was kind of a crime to Mega Medicham, because, it one-hit KO, two-hit KO the rest of his team, and you could have really used that to put pressure on Tails. But once that was gone, you didn't really have much in terms of breaking, other than Darkrai and Z Darkrai, and you're like, if you brought something like Scarf 4 attacks Galvantula, in the Z Darkrai, and you could really capitalize on taking out Mew with something for your Mega Magic and just going like, I'm repeating myself, but yeah, I mean, you didn't play well with Mega Magic. It was not a good value trade at all for you, like at all. It was terrible. And yeah, I mean, Tails with the great matchup, just it wasn't even like 3-0 seems too close in my opinion for how it should have went down, just based off of your team. But he got some kills, which is all you can kind of hope for at that point, with to save some differential. So well played by Tails, but I think you shot yourself in the foot more, and really a lot of the loss is because of your team prep, I believe, and your play, specifically with Mega Magic. I think if you played it differently, and brought maybe like one other mon, like maybe Zygdog or Tails or something else other than Heatran, I think you would have been in a fine position to do something in this match and have a shot at it. But what's more of like a 40-60 favor for Tails, like just based off a team matchup, became like 30-70, 20-80 based off your play and stuff. And it was a rough week for you. But Tails, it was just another good win for you. I mean, your team is just so good, and you're a good enough player to where you can beat any team, really. Even if some of your mons don't do well versus him, like versus someone, you have so many options. Like, your team's just great, man. So keep it up. JR's bounce back. Play better with Mega Magic, because that thing is a beast. It should be in kill leaders, man. It should be in kill leaders, and that wasn't Giga Impact. To get rid of Mew is not the way to do it, my man. It's not the way to do it. I hope you play better with it, because I love that mon so much. All right, going on to the next video to the next battle, Storm versus Jay Keel. All right, I'm gonna skip this because Storm unfortunately did drop, and honestly, I'm sorry to hear that, because me and him are pretty tight, I feel, and he's a good friend. So whatever. If Storm, if you're listening to this, like, seriously, man, figure it out. Figure stuff out, man. Family and life stuff comes first. You know how it is. Hope everything goes well for you, my man. But I mean, in terms of this battle, I mean, I made this team for you, Storm. So I made the team, and you had nothing to break past the Gillicky. I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay, so this one, I believe. Okay, well, okay, so this is the last one. Darby's versus Vixen. 1-0 for 1-0 for Dar. Okay, so honestly, this was a good win for you, Darby's. I'm not gonna lie. Trick Room Victini was an awesome bring for you. It was pretty neat, because it just smashed through Vixen's team. It smashed, dude. It got rid of P2 and Feeny. He has no bulk left. He has nothing left to sponge hits from anything, really. And then, yeah, between that and the rest of your mons, the Focus Sash Miss Magius, which was great with HPIs for the Zygarde to revenge kill it and make sure you were able to kill it if it like DD'd up on you. Miltank with like Thick Fat was great for the Jinx too. Obviously, it getting put to sleep, unfortunate, but yeah. And then I don't know what the grand set was. I think it might have been Scarf. I'm not sure, but then something outsped it. I think Scarf Ditto outsped it with Miss Magius. But whatever, it won you the game. Really, the only thing I have to say about this game for you specifically, Darb, is initially when you switched out your Victini to the Zygarde, from the Zygarde that Vixen brought in after you killed I believe the P2 or the Feeny. I can't quite remember. I don't feel like pulling up the replay. But yeah, you brought in Lando, which is fine. You got the -1 from the Intimidate. You got the -1 attack drop. That's all good. But then you just sacked Landorus Therian for no reason. Like, you had a perfectly healthy Buzzwole. Which I just, like, I don't know, man. I don't know what happened. again, I have no words to explain what happened during that turn, but I mean, it could have been a 2-0, I guess, if you didn't sack your Landorus. Because again, Buzzwole is always a hard wall to Zygarde. I mean, maybe you were scouting for like a special HP flying set, but he went for 1,000 aerials, and if you saw the damage in the calc, probably you could have figured out it was physical. And then Buzzwole is just absolutely free. There's no need for you to sack Landorus. Vixen, honestly, I don't even know what to say to you, dude. Like, I really don't. Like, I just like, at this point, your team has become a meme to me. With Garbage Feeny doing absolutely nothing. You got Hitmontrash in the back for intimidation factor. And whatnot. So, yeah, man, honestly, dude, I don't even know, like, what to say. I guess put more time into team building, but you probably ain't about that life, 5 minutes tops. But seriously though, I mean, I don't know what you would even bring to like help you versus Victini. Like, let me see your team. Oh wow, you have nothing for Victini. So, Victini going ham on you, like, it's understandable, but at that point, you just bring like some offensive team with like something. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not sure if the Zygarde was choiced in any way, but I feel like DD is probably your best way of winning, with like Z Outrage to just nuke the Buzzwole, which the Buzzwole seemed to be Spadef because it took relatively low damage from Ice Beam from your Jinx. So the Jinx was kind of cool, but Thick Fat Miltank was there to cock block it. Ditto was cool too if you want to get cheeky with like Rock Polish, SD Lando, which who knows might have been it. But yeah, I mean, I don't even know, man. I know you don't take stuff too seriously or any of this too seriously, so I'm just gonna leave it at that, man. Bring better teams. I don't know, dude. Play better. I guess is what it comes down to. Play better, dude. I mean, it kind of goes for everyone who lost this week, including myself. Just play better. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Again, timestamps for each person's part will be in the description. Hopefully, I remember to put that in. If I don't, and you listen to it, yell at me on Discord. Week 5 will, I don't know, sometime early next week. I doubt it. I'm sorry for moving the screen. I doubt it will be next weekend. That'd be too long, and then we'd be way too behind. But yeah, it's super late for me. It's like almost 4 a.m. in the morning, but this is when I could kind of sneak out and do it without being disturbed, and without disturbing anyone. So yeah, I'm gonna go watch a movie and then go to... Oh crap, I forgot about the rankings, dude. I forgot about the rankings. Oh, I'm so stupid. Alright, rankings. Okay, for Sword Division, I got Theo at 1, a Healy at 2, Dar at 3, I got myself at 4, and Sparks, you're at 5, and Vixen, you're at 6. Vixen, I just think you played bad, and your team wasn't that great, but then again, matchup was bad, so, you kind of stayed the same. And Sparks, I think a lot of your loss was because of your poor decision making. I don't want to make it sound too bad, but yeah, I think if you, kept Marowak and whatnot, you would have won. And yeah, even though it was like very RNG heavy, you kind of lost on your own. I put myself at 4. I mean, I don't know, maybe M Sparks, you could go ahead of me. I'm not really sure. I threw. Honestly, I should be at last because I threw and had a terrible team. But, whatever. I think it was Theo, so cut me some slack, yo. Cut me some slack. It was Theo, dude. It was Theo. But yeah, the reason I have myself above M Sparks is just because of the poor plays that M Sparks put, and that essentially he could have just won if he made a few better plays. Actually, no, screw that. M Sparks, you're ahead of me. I deserve to be 5th. Honestly, I deserve to be 5th. Actually, no, screw this. We hold on. We changing this. All right, hold on. This not right. This not right. I'm last. All right, now I think about it. I'm last because I sucked balls and got 6-0'd by Theo. Who gets 6-0'd by Theo? Scrubs do. That's the answer. Dar did better than me. He got a 3-0. Healy beat him, for crying out loud. Storm, I know, beat him in LC a while ago. So what's my excuse? I have none. I played like crap. So I'm at last. Vixen's at 5. M-Sparks, you're at 4. Dar, you're at 3 because, you know, you had a good plan versus Vixen, but, you know, I think Healy and Theo were a bit better. Actually, dude, man, now that I'm looking at these again, yo, Theo at 1, we're putting Dar at 2. We're putting Darby's at 2, Healy at 3 because of the RNG, M-Sparks at 4, Vixen at 5, me last. Alright, going to Shield Division Power Rankings. Tails, you basically stay the same at first because, you know, your team's really good and got a solid win. Jake Gill, solid win, great team. And Storm had nothing for your Licky, so I think you got a little leeway there. Rocky, you're at 3rd, basically staying the same because your game versus Alice was close, although I think it was pretty much in your favor from the get-go, just because of matchup wise and whatnot. So yeah, Alice, you're at 4 because you know, it was pretty close. You know, it was still a 2-0. And you had some good stuff, but overall, you still lost. Storm 5. Well, you had nothing to break through Licky, and again, we didn't really cover you because you dropped. But then again, it's my fault because I built the team. JRs, you're at 6 because you played terribly with your Mega Medicham, and you brought some questionable Mons into a very unfavorable match up. And you weren't able to really do much versus Tails. I mean, I know it was a 3-0, and maybe I'm missing something because I'm not watching the replay right now, or didn't watch the replay as I was doing this, but yeah. So, there we go. That's the video, guys. That's the video. Almost an hour. There will be timestamps, I hope, but yeah. Good night, people. I'm gonna watch a movie and then go to bed.